Being a late boomer, a topic that doesn't get talked a lot, mainly because it doesn't affect many people, even though it can be a real struggle. According to Wikipedia, a late boomer is a person whose talents or capabilities are not visible to others until later than usual. The term is used metaphorically to describe a child or adolescent who develops slower than others in their age group, but eventually catches up and in some cases overtakes their peers, or an adult whose talents or genius in a particular field only appears later in life than is normal, in some cases only in old age. Today I want to talk about that specifically on the developmental part of it. What is it like as a person who was a late boomer? The main positives and negatives that come out of such a condition. Probably the worst part about being a late boomer is the fact that you are physically underdeveloped compared to others, and sometimes also mentally. This obviously makes communication with your peers difficult, as they are on a completely different wave mentally and also physically much more assertive. So they don't even view you as an equal, you are more or so a child in their eyes. So yes, we can forget about such things as going to parties or forming a lot of friendships. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that making friends is impossible, just more difficult, and you can especially forget about romantic relationships with the opposite gender, as you are a turbo manlet and look like a child who is lost in school. You're essentially a gnome. 2 seconds of silence for all the bros that never grew up. Okay, that's enough, now back to the video. Now, if you're like me, you mostly don't care about such things, but if you're someone who really cares, well, tough luck, buddy. You will have to miss out on a good amount of formative experiences, that much I can tell you. Now, I have many stories to tell about my struggle with being a late boomer, but I think 2 of those are particularly interesting and prove my points. So the first story is in 8th grade. It all takes place in the fitness salon, and the boys from my grade are messing around and jumping on top of each other. I don't remember how or why, but I decided to play along as well. Guess I found it fun at the time, but now in retrospective it was pretty dumb. So at one point there were 4 or 5 people on top of me, and out of nowhere everyone started freaking out like, oh my god, we brought the poor child, get him out of here. While I was completely fine and was actually happy to have fun with my classmates. Now this is a quite wholesome story and actually an admirable behavior from my peers, you know, since they actually cared about my well-being. Either that or they didn't want to get in trouble, probably the latter to be honest. I have also had my fair share of bullying because of my underdeveloped body, but I won't get into all of those instances. I will still tell you about the most interesting one, as I think it serves a good example of the struggle that I had to go through. So I'm walking through the hallways, and class is about to start. So I hurried up to the classroom, when suddenly there is a group of students from the neighboring class, and I don't remember again how or why, but out of nowhere they start throwing me in the air, and of course there is nothing I can do as I watch the teacher walking in the classroom. Thankfully someone noticed, and when the teacher asked where am I, they said I'm being tossed around in the hallway, so she came out and de-escalated the situation, and guys, I kid you not, the bitch actually blamed me for this. It was a peak woman moment.
Women.
But yeah, overall the worst part of it was the fact that I was short. It is no secret that people treat you worse if you are a manlet, and also according to a study done in Sweden, for every 2 inches or 5 centimeters for my non-American audience a man has, the chances of game ending yourself decrease by 9%, which is a lot. Now when it comes to academics, I personally didn't struggle, thankfully. I do believe that I will do better now, so who knows, it might have impaired me, but overall it went smoothly. Like every average student, I excelled at some subjects and despised others. That's not to say that other late boomers will be so fortunate. For some of them it might be literal torture trying to keep up with their underdeveloped brains. So, are there any positives to being a late boomer? Well, surprisingly yes, there are, and I don't think it's a cope. First, you look younger for longer, which is a great benefit, both because you grew up later and because while others were busy partying, drinking and doing drugs, you avoided all of those pitfalls, and you probably also got to sleep well because of that. I mean, it's no secret that Gen Z look older than they actually are, which is great because you will be capable for a longer time. Second, you can learn from other people's mistakes and avoid their pitfalls. During the adolescence of a person, it is not uncommon to do a lot of stupid things, so by just developing later, you naturally get isolated from such environment, and by observing the mistakes of others and by warning about their pitfalls, you can avoid a lot of mistakes that they have made. My physics teachers always used to say that the dumbest thing you can do is to learn from your mistakes, as others have already made them. Okay, I know this sounds a bit like a cope to justify social isolation, but from personal experiences, I can tell you it's true. Third and last, you deal with a lot less bullshit. Since, as I said earlier, you're naturally isolated, you miss on a lot of the teenage life and the drama and bullshit that comes with it, which ironically is great. You're protected from all the degeneracy and hedonism common within this culture and wicked generation. You actually get to keep your purity instead of rotting your brain with the wickedness of the times we live in, which is an amazing treasure to have. So why am I telling you all of this? Well, mainly because I want to entertain and to hopefully either show you that you're not alone in the struggle and that many others have already walked this path, or if you can't relate, to hopefully make you feel some empathy inside you, there is no need to bully the little Jimmy. His situation is shit as it already is. There's no need to deal additional damage. Oh, and by the way, this is a reflection on the male experience. It might be much better if you're a woman, who knows. So yeah, if you yourself are going through this, all I want to tell you is that it gets better and that in the end there is light in the darkness.
There is much to be skeptical of in this world, so it no longer surprises me to learn how many people don't really believe in anything. What's the point? For many of us, the road is a difficult one, but the path is always there for us to follow, no matter how many times we may fall. The good news is that we can help you find your way back. Naturally, some days are harder than others. But I must try. We all have doubts. The light of the mind alone cannot burn away all darkness. Think on it and look in your heart. It will be for the best. When the walls come tumbling down, when you lose everything you have, you always have family. The fire that had kept me alive was love. Their love. God's love. Right. You're not so certain. Fair enough. We all go through periods of darkness. Of course. In a world filled with misery and uncertainty, it is a great comfort to know that, in the end, there is light in the darkness. In such times we can turn to the Lord, but it's good to have friends. And the good Lord knows there's much to be done here. You're a good neighbor to us. Thank you. Until then, God be with you.
If you liked the video, subscribe, hit the like button, check out my 2 previous videos, and if I'm still alive, I'll see you around next time. Bye for now.